A very good morning to all the students of class 5. My name is Prerna and I'm your English teacher. And today, from your English book Skyline, we are going to read chapter number 12. So, this chapter, just like the chapter Robinson Crusoe, this chapter is also adapted from one of the novels. And this novel was written by Jonathan Swift. And you know what is the name of the novel? It is called Gulliver's Travels. So let us start reading the story about one of the adventures of Gulliver's. So here we go. So this is chapter number 12 and the name of the chapter is Gulliver in Giant Land. So you can pronounce it as Gulliver also, you can pronounce it as Gulliver also. Both the pronunciations are correct. So here we go. On 16th of June 1730, we discovered land. Our captain sent a dozen men with vessels for water, if any could be found. When we came to land, we saw no river or spring, nor any inhabitants. I went on to explore. The country was barren and rocky. I turned back to join the crew, only to see them getting into the boat and rowing for life to get to the ship. So, in the first paragraph of the story, Gulliver is talking about how they were finally able to find a land and that their captain had sent them to get some water wherever they could get some water from. But because Gulliver was not able to find any water, and the place or the land where they came, they felt that no one resided in that place, there were no inhabitants. So Gulliver went ahead to find out some water, but all he could see is that the land was very infertile, it was very rocky. So he thought that now let me go back to the ship, let me go back and meet my crew. So but what did he see? He saw that the crew was getting into the boat and rowing for life to get to the ship. So he saw that all the crew members, a dozen crew members who had gone to find some water, they got into a boat and they were rowing continuously. So rowing means propelling a boat with oars. So when Gulliver reached back, he saw that his crew members were running away from something just to save their lives. So what was that? Before I could reach them, I observed a huge creature walking after them in sea as fast as he could. The water of the ocean reached only till his knees. So Gulliver saw that there was a man who was extremely tall, and the ocean water reached only till his knees. So what happened next? However, the monster was unable to overtake the speeding boat. I turned back quickly and climbed up a steep hill with fields of barley on either side and the corn rising up to 40 feet. There was a fence to pass from one field to other. So now Gulliver's other crew members somehow managed to escape. But what did Gulliver do? Because he was standing at a distance and he did not have this much of time to get to that boat. So he went up to a hill and he was just observing what was happening from there, and he suddenly saw that there were fields of barley and corn. And what was the height of the crops grown in this field? It was about 40 feet. It was impossible for me to climb because every step was 6 feet high. So these crops, they were fenced. So they were fenced at a height of 6 feet. So it was impossible for Gulliver to climb onto that fence. I was trying to find a gap in the hedge, Hedge again means the fence only. When I discovered one of the inhabitants in the next field walking towards the fence. He was of the same size as the creature chasing the boat. So now he saw another person who was extremely tall, overly tall, and he looked exactly like the same man who was chasing the boat, who was following the boat of Gulliver's crew members. I was struck. Struck means shocked, with utmost fear and astonishment, and ran to hide myself. He called in a voice much louder than a trumpet. So, trumpet is a musical instrument. It sounded like thunder. 7 monsters like him came towards the field, ready to reap the corn. Reap means to cut the corn and collect it. They carried a reaping hook which was very big. So now, why is Gulliver calling these creatures as monsters? Because they were, as I've been telling you, they were really very tall, than more than, like a monster only. When one of the reapers approached where I lay hidden, I screamed as loud as I could. The creature stopped reaping, picked me up between his thumb and forefinger, and brought me close to his eyes, 60 above the ground. So now you can see that this creature, whom Gulliver is calling as the monster, he picked up Gulliver with his thumb and the forefinger, and now Gulliver felt that he was 60 feet above the ground. He looked at me with curiosity, blew my hair aside to get a better view of my face. He called his friends and gently placed me on the ground. So this creature, he placed Gulliver safely on the ground. They all sat on the ground to take a good look at me. I walked slowly backward and forward, pulled off my hat, and made a low bow towards the farmers. So now Gulliver, he took off his hat and he bowed, or he bent in front of the farmers. I tried to speak to them loudly in several languages. Why is that the Gulliver had to speak loudly? Because these creatures were really tall and his voice was not audible enough to them. Each time I did so, the farmer who picked me up held his ear very close to me, but in vain. In vain means of no use. It was a complete wastage. The farmer took me to his house and placed me at some distance on the dining table, which was 30 feet high from the floor. Dinner was brought for the farmer in a dish which was 10 feet in diameter. The farmer's wife crumbled some bread and placed it before me. Crumble means to, put it into small pieces, very small pieces. In the middle of the dinner, I heard a noise behind me. It was the purring of a cat. So the low vibrating sound of the cat was there. And it was 10 times larger than an ox. The farmer's wife was stroking him. So the farmer's wife was gently patting the cat. Then entered the farmer's 1-year-old son in the arms of a lady. So you can see this is the farmer's son, and this is the cat. Then entered the farmer's 1-year-old son in the arms of a lady. On seeing me, the child grabbed me from the table and put my head into his mouth. I shouted so loudly that the baby dropped me. I would have broken my neck if the mother had not held her apron under me. Later, she put me on her own bed and covered me with a clean white handkerchief. So imagine the handkerchief of these people were acted like a sheet or acted like a quilt for Gulliver, who was of the normal height that human beings have. I slept dreaming of my home, my wife, and my children. So, wasn't this an interesting story? So just like the task I've given you for Robinson Crusoe, you can also read Gulliver's Travels. It's a very interesting novel and you will really enjoy reading this novel. Thank you so much.